Hey everyone, I'm really excited for this tutorial where we're going to be cooking up a HYPERPOP type beat for Midwxst and whiterosemoxie. Honestly, I first heard about these guys from the song Itachi. I'm low-key a huge fan of Hive Mind, and that video is absolutely insane. I know these guys have been making waves for a while, but somehow I never really checked out the music until that video dropped. After that though, I went down the rabbit hole, and both of these guys have a great catalog of music. Midwxst sound is more built around hard beats with really bright, cheery pluck sounds, while whiterosemoxie seems to lean more into pop-type songwriting. Both of these sounds complement each other so well, so while Itachi is more of a rage type beat, in this tutorial we're going to make more of that pop/hyperpop sound that's more prominent through both of these artists' catalogs. Before we get into this video, I want to encourage you to join the Avatar Squad Discord. The link will be down in the pinned comment, and it's just a great way to connect with producers and artists. Also, if you drop loops in there, that's the first place I look for producers to feature in these videos, so it's a great way to get featured here on the channel. Again, the link to join is in the pinned comment. So let's get into it, but first please do me a favor and like this video for the YouTube algorithm. Every like makes a difference, and together with your likes we can change the world. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I promise you, I don't take it for granted and do everything in my power to make these videos well worth your time. Now let's dive in.
Legend don't play.
So for this kind of beat, it honestly makes sense to start with the most intense, hardest part of the drop first, and then basically build out from there the rest of the arrangement. The reason I started with this top line pattern is because it's going to make it easier for us to lay down a more compelling 808 pattern, which is so important in this kind of drop. And of course, this clap pattern is absolutely crazy, but that's the exact vibe we're going for. We're going to do all the glitchy pops and hard drop stuff in here, so it's good to have a lot of different little claps hitting all over the place. So the main hi-hat pattern looks like this, and the main thing to take note of here is that I just like to leave a little bit of space every time the clap hits. We've also got a second hi-hat pattern. It's the same general concept, except it's panned to the right. For HYPERPOP 808s, always go completely bonkers, and remember we're going to layer on all those bass sounds right on top of this, so it really needs to have a melodic, catchy quality to it. I also layered on this splash cymbal sound with every single 808 just to make it hit a little bit harder. Honestly, it's actually really similar to a metalcore drop. So for our main bass sounds, I ended up using Serum. I know this is a paid plugin, but it's only like $10 a month on Splice Rent to Own, and it's a really good one to learn. But either way, we're just using really basic waveforms, and that's actually how to make this kind of bass, so you could replicate the same thing in any of the FL Studio stock synthesizers just as easily. I don't want to get into the exact sound design process, but I'm not even joking when I say this is the simplest of simple patches, and that's why we're actually creating it from scratch, because a lot of default patches and synthesizers are a little too complicated, and we really just want a very simple, focused patch. I added another synth patch right on top of this, all the same notes. The only difference is we used slightly different waveforms and pitched it up 7 semitones so that way we could play the 5th of every note. In other words, this means that the bass line will be playing power chords the entire time. Like my grandma always said, use diode distortion. Using more ultra simple patches inside of Serum, I added in a few of these little sections with these little glitch pops. We've also got this other melody that just goes crazy. So this right here is probably my favorite sound on the whole track. It's just an 808 and a higher octave doing this crazy roll. I also filled in every 4 steps with an open hat. Whenever the drop is this crazy, a consistent element like this can add a level of balance. So this right here is the most underrated plugin on earth. This is Waves Enigma, and I absolutely love this thing on any melody. I also added in a bunch of gross beat presets for us to automate later. Now it's time for us to start arranging. The first step is to split the pattern by channel. Next, I loaded in all of our sounds so far into the arrangement window. At this point, I started to dial in the mix for the drop. I've got it sped up about 750% here. When it comes to mixing, there's only so much technical advice I can give, but basically just use your heart, use your ears until the track sounds right. It's all about levels, it's all about EQ, and it's all about just making things fit together. I really like to use reverb and EQ. This is a crazy plugin right here called Max Bass that just makes the bass a little fatter. And yeah, it's basically just carving it out, so it's just right. Small tweaks make a big difference. Next, I brought in this loop from Baredex's Chords and Melodies Volume 9 pack. You need to go pick up this pack. I'm not joking when I say it's one of the best melody packs out there. So I know most people watching probably don't have this plugin. It's not super well known. This is Waves Mondo Mod, and it's just going to add a little movement to the track. You can just as easily use a flanger or chorus, just something to add a little more movement to the melody. So as part of my commitment to make these videos well worth your time, I hope you don't mind me painting in some broad strokes here as I talk about the arrangement, because otherwise this video would be 20 minutes long or 30 minutes long, and I just don't like to do that to you guys. So really what I'm doing here is basically just trying to add as much variation into the arrangement as possible. So I've got all these different gross beat presets, and we're just automating the dry and wet at different parts to create different vibes. We also chop up the melody a little bit during the drop, and otherwise it's a really straightforward arrangement up to this point. There's a few more things I want to talk about after this, but basically, you know, just create intensity. Now, if you want to get the sound just right, it's really important to use this exact serum preset, this exact one. So this is the bass line here, and the only place that we're actually going to use this is just leading into the first drop, but it just helps set the stage for the mood to change completely during the drop. So to give a basic idea of how this arrangement really works is we basically have that intro, then we have a drop, then we have a middle section, which is kind of like a verse, then we have another drop, and then we just have like this crazy section where the drop just really transforms a couple times before the end of the track. There's 2 hours of footage of me here just drawing automation, so it was really hard to decide what exactly to include here, but I hope that covering the general process helps. So I just reopened FL Studio and went into this session to get this screenshot because I really had to shrink down the tracks to just like a crazy size just to even see everything that's actually going on in this track. So as you can see, there's a lot here, and when it comes to making a track like this, the difference is really in the details. You can make a Midwest type beat that kind of sounds like Midwest, but if you want it to really sound like the song by that artist, sometimes if it's, you know, that bigger, more maximalist sound, you actually have to go in and take the time to add in all those little details. I want to encourage you not to overthink it though. At the end of the day, you just have to keep it simple, even if there's a lot going on like this track. So there you have it, guys. That's how to make a Midwest and whiterosemoxie type beat. There's no mastering on this track. I really wanted all the clipping to come through. And finally, if you guys could do me a quick favor and just make sure that you've liked this video and subscribed to the channel, it really helps support everything that I'm doing here and the time that goes into making these videos for you guys. So it really means the world to me. I can't express that enough. And thank you so much for watching these videos. Thank you for watching this far into the video. I love you guys more than words can express. I hope you enjoy the beat, and I'll see you next time.